Right then, settle in. If you're watching or listening, let me know where you are and what time it is for you. Take a moment. Good, now picture this, you're there. The year is 1888. It's late autumn and Whitechapel wraps around you like a sodden grey shroud. The air itself feels thick, not just with the chill of a London night, but with something you can almost taste, a damp metallic tang that hints at old brick and the river's breath. Each gulp burns slightly, a promise of creeping cold that works its way through your threadbare coat. It's a bitter taste, undeniably, like wet ash and a whisper of something far more unsettling. The fog, a proper London pea super, presses in close, swallowing the gaslight from the street lamps until they're nothing but fuzzy halos, distant and uninviting. You can't see your hand outstretched, not really, just a blurry outline. You're navigating by instinct, by the sound of your own careful steps on the grimy cobblestones, and the subtle, cloying smell of stale beer and desperation that clings to the tenement walls. It's an oppressive blanket, muffling every distant shout, every carriage wheel, until the world outside your immediate shrinking bubble feels impossibly far away. Your lungs protest with each shallow breath, the moisture turning to ice within you. You pull your collar higher, not that it makes much difference. The cold isn't just external, it's a shiver that starts deep in your bones, a premonition perhaps. You press on, the weight of the night pushing down, urging you to blend into the shadows. The alley ahead, a darker smudge within the fog, calls to you with an almost tangible pull, promising refuge or perhaps something entirely different. You step forward, the unseen ground shifting slightly beneath your worn boots. This is a place where even the air feels like a lie, where the very act of existing feels like a fragile, temporary thing. The mist, thick as forgotten memories, still clings to your skin like a second, clammy garment, but it's the profound shift in the very breath you draw that truly announces your journey has reached a new, potent threshold. You feel it before you see it, before any distant sound betrays its presence. A smell, not merely the damp earth and human refuse that Whitechapel offers in such abundance, but something deeper, far more ancient, a smell that speaks of vast, churning water and the endless mud it ceaselessly grinds. It's the unmistakable heavy perfume of the Thames, a dark living entity. You recognize it instantly, a rich, earthy decay laced with the metallic tang of coal barges, the sharp hint of brine from distant seas, and a faint, acrid whisper of forgotten chemicals that tells a complex story of industry and neglect. It's an aroma that seeps into your very pores, promising a cold, indifferent embrace, a ceaseless, powerful force just beyond the reach of your restricted vision. This is the unseen river, making its presence known through its compelling scent, guiding you, almost unwillingly, towards its unseen, encroaching banks. You find yourself inhaling deeper, a strange mixture of revulsion and fascination stirring within you. Your footsteps become more deliberate now, each wet cobble slick under your worn boots, echoing softly in the dense air. You can hear it too, a low, rhythmic sloshing that isn't quite the crashing of nearby waves, but something far more muted and insidious. The ceaseless shifting of water against stone, against weathered wooden pilings, against unseen detritus that gathers at its edges. It's a sound that seems to absorb all others, creating an intimate, almost suffocating silence around you, broken only by the river's slow, deliberate, heavy breath. You can almost feel the chill emanating from that unseen expanse, a cold that bypasses your coat entirely, settling deep in your chest. A profound shiver races up your spine, colder than the biting air itself. This isn't a place of comfort or warmth. The fog here feels colder, wetter, heavier, as if the river itself breathes it out, coating everything in its cold, indifferent essence. You press forward, drawn by an invisible thread, a morbid curiosity perhaps, or a premonition, to what this profound scent and sound might ultimately unveil. Your gloved hand brushes against a damp brick wall, and you feel the fine grit of coal dust beneath your fingers, a physical confirmation of the river's sprawling, dirty reach, even miles from its main arteries. This sensation roots you in this bleak, indifferent reality, reminding you that you are undeniably here now. You pause again, drawing in another slow, measured lungful of the pungent, river-scented air. It's a bitter, yet strangely beautiful thing, this unseen behemoth. You realize with a quiet, undeniable certainty how utterly insignificant you are against its timeless, relentless current, how easily its dark, swirling depths could swallow all your secrets, all your fears, leaving not a single ripple or trace behind. It's a humbling, stark thought. To exist here on its very edge feels like a constant negotiation with something far older and more powerful than yourself. The thick, damp air of Whitechapel is your constant companion, a chill that gnaws at your fingers and ears, but then, cutting through the pervasive quiet, comes a sound. It's not the scurry of rats or the distant cough of a passing cabbie, but something sharper, more defined. A metallic clang, brief and surprisingly clear, echoing down the narrow confines of the alley you've just entered. It's an unusual sound for this hour, not quite a bell, not quite a dropped tool, but something resonating against brick or iron. You freeze, your boots instinctively stilling on the slick, greasy cobbles. Your breath hitches slightly, a whisper of mist escaping your lips. The clang fades, leaving behind an intensified silence, a void where the noise had been. It hangs heavy, almost expectant, as if the alley itself is holding its breath, waiting for a reply. You strain your ears, trying to pierce the opaque curtain of the fog, your gaze darting from one dark, grimy wall to the other, searching for a source, a shadow, any disturbance. The walls here are close, sweating damp. They press in, trapping the echoes, twisting them. You hear the phantom resonance again, or perhaps it's just your imagination, a ghost of the initial sound bouncing off the unseen corners. It feels like a quicksilver dart, impossible to pin down, yet undeniable. You notice the quickening thump of your own heart against your ribs, a drumbeat that feels far too loud in the sudden, eerie stillness. Is it a warning, a signal? Or simply a child's dropped toy swallowed by the London night? You take a cautious step forward, then another, your senses heightened, every nerve alive. The metallic tang of fear joins the familiar sense of damp earth and stale refuse. You feel a prickle on the back of your neck, that distinct sensation of being watched, of another presence just beyond the edge of your perception, hidden within the swirling grey. The alley stretches ahead, an uncertain path leading deeper into the unknown, each step a gamble. This echo, fleeting and enigmatic, has redefined the very texture of this night, transforming a simple passage into a corridor of subtle, unsettling apprehension. You realize with a shiver how effortlessly the unseen can influence the seen, how a mere sound can shape your entire reality. You're still moving through the alley, the echo of that metallic clang a lingering vibration in the damp air, when something catches your eye. A faint, almost imperceptible glint on the greasy cobblestones, tucked against the base of a sagging brick wall. It's barely visible, swallowed mostly by the gloom and the wet sheen of the paving, but it's there, a flicker of something out of place in this tableau of grime and shadow. You slow your pace, your gaze fixed, and cautiously bend down. Your fingers, stiff with cold, reach out, brushing away a layer of wet dust and forgotten refuse. What you retrieve is small, circular, and shockingly cold against your skin, even through the thin fabric of your gloves. It's a coin. A shilling, perhaps, or a half-crown, though it's difficult to tell precisely in the meagre light. But the chill of the metal is profound, deeper than the ambient cold, as if it's absorbed the very indifference of the night for hours, for days. You turn it over in your gloved palm. It's slick with moisture, and there's a strange, almost greasy residue that clings to it, a faint, metallic smell that isn't quite the Thames, but something sharper, less natural. Your thumb traces the worn-down features of Queen Victoria, a stark, almost grim profile staring out from the tarnished silver. The edges are smooth, worn by countless transactions, countless hands, countless pockets. But there's a weight to it too, a surprising density that seems to speak of more than just its simple monetary value. It feels heavy, burdened, almost like a miniature anchor. You pull it closer, tilting it to catch the weak, refracted light from a distant gas lamp, trying to decipher any faint inscription, any clue. But there's nothing, just the smooth, cold metal, its surface a dull mirror reflecting back only the distortions of the fog and your own shadowed face. You can't shake the feeling that it doesn't belong here, that it wasn't simply dropped. There's no pocket torn, no sign of a struggle, just this silent, solitary piece of currency. Your eyes sweep the immediate area again, searching for any other sign, any other anomaly. The alley remains deserted, the fog thick and unwavering, yet the coin in your hand feels like a silent witness, a relic from a life now absent. It's a stark reminder, this dead weight in your palm, that even the smallest, most insignificant objects can carry with them the undeniable presence of something lost, something ended. It's a truth as cold and hard as the coin itself. You're still walking, the alley walls blurring into the relentless Whitechapel fog, that cold coin a solid, unsettling presence in your pocket. The chill is absolute, a pervasive dampness that has long since seeped through your threadbare coat and into the very marrow of your bones. Instinctively, you pull your collar tighter, drawing the worn fabric higher around your neck, desperate for some meager pocket of warmth against the biting air. but as the rough material presses against your skin, you notice a distinct, persistent prickling. It's not the familiar abrasion of your own worn wool, the kind you've grown accustomed to over countless cold nights. This is different. This is a sharper, almost irritable itch, 1,000 tiny, insistent needles dancing across your skin, specifically around your neck and lower jawline. It's the feel of unfamiliar fibers, coarser, perhaps less clean than what you're used to. A distinct scent, too, faintly clinging to this irritating fabric, not just the damp earth and stale refuse, but a deeper, almost musty aroma, tinged with a faint, sweet smokiness you can't quite place. It's an irritating intrusion, demanding your attention, a small, persistent torment amidst the greater discomfort of the London night. You reach up, your fingers, stiff with cold, brushing against the offending wool, feeling its unexpected coarseness. It's an unpleasantly thick weave, the kind that might belong to a labourer's shawl or an old, forgotten blanket salvaged from some pauper's bed. As you rub the spot, attempting to alleviate the irritation, the itch only intensifies, spreading subtly across your neck, a curious rebellion of your own skin against this alien texture. It's an intimate sensation, this new, irritating contact, pulling your focus abruptly from the external world, the looming fog, the unseen river, the silent, watchful alley, to the unexpected discomfort of your own body. This persistent, almost maddening itch makes you acutely aware of your own vulnerability, exposed not just to the brutal elements of the Victorian night, but to these small, petty irritations that invade your personal space, clinging to you like an unwanted secret. The overwhelming chill of the street recedes slightly, momentarily usurped by this new, peculiar, and altogether insistent sensation. You find yourself wondering where this unwanted addition came from, or how it came to be so intimately pressed against you. It's a striking reminder of how even the most minor, personal discomfort can utterly dominate your awareness, momentarily eclipsing the vast, cold world around you, shrinking your reality to the confines of your own agitated skin. The persistent, irritating itch of the unfamiliar wool around your neck still prickles, a minor discomfort amidst the greater, pervasive chill of Whitechapel. But then, a colder sensation settles upon you, one that isn't of the biting air or the damp ground. It's the distinct, unmistakable feeling of eyes, sharp and unwavering, fixed upon your passing form. You feel them before you even consciously register a single face, a prickle on your skin that's less about fabric and more about exposure. Through the swirling, sickly grey of the fog, which seems to cling to the very fabric of the tenements, you begin to discern movement. Shadows shift in doorways, slight partings of grimy curtains in upper windows reveal fleeting glimpses of figures. These aren't the hurried glances of passers-by on a busy thoroughfare. No, these are deliberate, rooted observations from people who appear as much a part of the grim architecture as the soot-stained brickwork itself. You catch the glint of an eye from a doorway, deep-set and shadowed, then another from a window above, framed by a pale, drawn face. Their gaze is not overtly hostile, you realize, as you slowly traverse the narrow, echoing alley. It's something far more profound, more unsettling. It's a hard gaze steeped in years of hardship and unspoken stories. There's weariness in it, yes, an exhaustion that seems to settle deep in the bones, but also a raw, unvarnished suspicion. It's a look that assesses, that judges, that questions your very presence here in their world, on their patch of sodden ground. There's no welcome in these eyes, no warmth, only a quiet, almost defiant challenge, a silent declaration of ownership over these bleak streets. You feel exposed under their collective, silent scrutiny. Every deliberate step you take on the slick cobbles feels amplified, every rustle of your worn coat seems to echo too loudly. You are an anomaly, a stark interruption in the perpetual grim tableau of their existence. The itch on your neck suddenly feels less significant than the weight of these unspoken questions pressing down on you. You become acutely aware of the slightly better cut of your coat, the cleaner line of your jaw, the very fact that you are merely passing through while they are bound to these shadows. They don't speak, these watchful figures, they don't gesture. They simply observe, unblinking, as if they possess an ancient understanding of every soul that dares to trespass. It's a collective silence that screams volumes, a stark recognition of the insurmountable divide between your world and theirs. You feel the unyielding resilience in their unyielding stares, the quiet strength born of perpetual struggle. It's not malice, but a stark, hard truth etched into their very beings. The fog, for all its obscuring power, cannot hide this fundamental, glaring truth. You are an outsider and they know it. As you finally pass the last visible threshold of their gaze, turning a corner that swallows you back into the deeper fog, the weight of their scrutiny lingers. It's a chill that has nothing to do with the night air, but everything to do with the raw, uncompromising reality of human experience. You're left with the profound understanding that some truths are not spoken, but simply observed, burned into the memory by the hard, unwavering gaze of those who have seen too much and expect too little. You step through a low, unassuming doorway barely visible beneath a flapping, tattered awning. Instantly, the brutal chill and biting fog of Whitechapel are gone, swallowed by a profound shift in the air. This new world hits you directly, a suffocating, almost physical presence that immediately demands your full attention. The smell engulfs you first. It's thick, sweet, and cloying, pushing the metallic tang of the street from your lungs. A rich floral sweetness, deep and musky, underpins it, hinting at something potent and hidden, something carefully cultivated to mask the grime. It doesn't just scent the air. It is the air pressing against your chest, filling your mouth with an unexpected, sickly sweetness. You taste it, heavy and persistent on your tongue, clinging to your throat. It feels strangely warm, a stark contrast to the outside's relentless chill, a deceptive comfort. Then you see it, or rather you are enveloped. A dense, billowing cloud, golden grey in the dimness, hangs suspended in the stagnant, heated air. This is the curtain, a shifting, living entity of smoke that devours light and blurs all hard edges. It swirls around you, lazy and hypnotic, twisting the distant, shrouded lantern into an indistinct, hazy glow. Figures within it become mere blurs, dark, slow-moving forms like ghosts in a slow-motion dream, their features softened, their purpose obscured. The air feels viscous, heavy and thick with this intoxicating vapor, making each breath a deliberate, conscious effort. Your eyes sting from a faint, acrid undertone beneath the sweetness, a subtle burning that suggests more than simple perfume. You inhale deeper, and the smoke fills your lungs, warm yet undeniably oppressive, a strange warmth that doesn't quite thaw the cold in your bones. It carries a curious lethargy, a dulling of the world's sharp edges, a powerful promise of oblivion. This pervasive presence offering escape subtly demands a price that remains unspoken yet deeply felt. You push further through the hazy shroud, your steps quieted by the thick atmosphere. Here the profound silence is broken only by soft sighs, the occasional rustle of unseen fabric, or the distant, delicate clink of porcelain, sounds that float detached and ethereal within the smoky depths. This curtain of smoke is more than just vapor, it's a deliberate veil, intricately woven from desires, from desperate longing, and from forgotten sorrows. You realize how easily one could lose themselves entirely in its alluring, heavy embrace, trading the harsh, undeniable clarity of the outside world for this soft, pervasive forgetfulness, a temporary, dreamlike death. The sweet, heavy curtain of smoke still clings to you, its cloying sweetness a taste on your tongue, a film across your eyes. But now, as you push deeper into the hazy gloom, a new dimension of this hidden world reveals itself, settling heavily upon your ears. It starts subtly, a dry, rasping cough from somewhere deep within the swirling grey, quickly stifled, as if the smoker themselves is too weary to make a proper sound. Then another, deeper, wetter, echoing faintly, followed by a barely audible groan that seems to melt into the pervasive quiet. This is the symphony of the opium den, a chorus woven from human frailty and whispered secrets. The coughs are varied, each a distinct note in this melancholic melody. There's the sharp, sudden bark of a newcomer, perhaps still fighting the smoke's embrace. Then the slow, guttural rumble of an old hand, a sound born of years of habit, of lungs irrevocably changed. You hear the fragile, almost childlike gasp of a woman, thin and reedy, cutting through the haze before dissolving again into the silence. Each one tells a story, a brief, involuntary confession of struggle or resignation, each lost quickly in the dense, muffling air. Interspersed with these bronchial declarations are the whispers. They're elusive, like tiny currents in the smoky sea, rising and falling in unintelligible waves. You strain your ears trying to catch a phrase, a word, anything that might tether these disembodied voices to meaning. Sometimes they're conspiratorial, a hushed murmur of two heads leaning together, their shapes barely visible through the veil, a fleeting image of shared confidence or guarded fear. Other times they sound like intimate confessions, fragile and tender, as if spilling out unheard grief into the oblivion of the drug. And then there are the whispers that seem to be spoken to no one at all, soft, self-soothing murmurs, the quiet babbling of a mind adrift, a gentle surrender to the pipe's intoxicating embrace. The thick smoke acts as a filter, softening every edge, blurring every sound until it becomes part of the overall, undulating hum of the room. It's impossible to pinpoint exact sources. The sounds appear to emanate from the very fabric of the den itself, from the sagging divans and the shadowy corners. You stand there, enveloped, feeling a strange blend of intrusion and empathy. These aren't just noises. They are the echoes of lives seeking solace, escaping pain, or simply fading into a temporary, blissful void. The constant ebb and flow of these coughs and whispers becomes a rhythm, a pulse that beats through the heart of Whitechapel's hidden desperation. You realize that within this cloud, every sound, however small, holds the profound weight of a hidden story, a fleeting whisper of existence in a world designed to forget. The thick, cloying smoke of the opium den is still your constant companion, a sweet, heavy blanket draped over your senses. But now, as you find yourself drawn deeper into the languid depths of the room, another sensation asserts itself, sharp and distinct, cutting through the haze. It's the direct, almost insistent heat from a small, squat oil lamp, flickering steadily on a low table nearby. Its amber glow, battling valiantly against the encroaching smoke, throws distorted, dancing shadows onto the unseen walls. You feel the warmth directly on your cheek, a tangible point of focus in this world of blurred edges and softened sounds, a surprising intensity against the cool dampness your skin still remembers from Whitechapel's streets. This heat, however, is not entirely comforting. It's a heavy warmth, almost oppressive, radiating with an unseen energy that seems to press down on your eyelids, urging them to droop. Each breath you draw feels sluggish, as if the air itself has turned to something thicker, more viscous, filled with a syrupy sweetness that coats the back of your throat. It's a stickiness you can almost taste, a clinging residue that makes your tongue feel thick, your mouth slightly dry. This isn't just the opium scent, it's its very essence seeping into you, dulling the sharpness of thought, slowing the rapid beat of your heart. Your mind, which had moments ago been alert and questioning, begins to unfurl, slow and deliberate, like ribbons drifting aimlessly in still water. The sounds around you, the coughs, the whispers, are further softened, as if heard through layers of damp, heavy silk. You find yourself fighting a profound lethargy, a desire to simply surrender to the pervasive calm. The boundaries of reality seem to stretch and soften, like taffy pulled thin, losing their crisp, defined edges. Your movements become ponderous, each shift of weight a deliberate, almost monumental effort. The rich, sweet aroma intensifies, weaving its way into the very fabric of your thoughts, a lullaby of oblivion. You reach out a hand, your fingers feeling strangely disconnected, to touch the cool, smooth surface of the wooden table next to the lamp, seeking something solid, something real to anchor you. The contrast is jarring, the vibrant, almost painful heat of the lamp and the sudden, overwhelming inertia that threatens to swallow you whole. You realize with a quiet, fading certainty that this place doesn't just offer escape. It demands a profound, slow surrender, a letting go of the solid world for something far more pliable, more adhesive. It's a heavy price, this slow, sweet descent into unreality, a true taste of oblivion's sticky, intoxicating embrace. The sweet, heavy warmth from the lamp, that sticky coating on your tongue, has now begun its insidious work, not just on your body, but within the very chambers of your mind. The sharp edges of your thoughts, once so clear and defined, are dissolving, softening into a haze, much like the opium smoke itself. Your memories, usually so rigidly ordered, become loose, drifting fragments, unmoored from their chronological anchors. You try to grasp a specific event, a reason for being here, but it slips through your mental fingers like fine, damp sand. A face you know, a street you've walked 1,000 times might flicker into view, but it's distorted, imbued with colors and sounds that never truly belonged. The sense of time itself becomes fluid, elastic. Was it an hour ago you entered? A day? The concept seems as distant and irrelevant as the bitter London fog outside. Your body feels heavy yet strangely weightless, a detached vessel floating on a calm, warm sea of forgetfulness, the relentless cold from the outside world now a mere fading echo. The coughs and whispers of the den, once distinct, now merge into a low, resonant hum, a soothing drone that seems to vibrate directly within your skull. It's a lullaby inviting you deeper, further into the embrace of unreality. You watch a curl of smoke rise from a distant pipe, and for a moment it seems to take on the shape of a familiar face, offering a silent, knowing smile. You blink and it's gone, merely smoke. But the illusion, however fleeting, felt utterly real, more vibrant than the room itself. There's no struggle now, no urgency to cling to the sharp edges of the waking world. A quiet surrender begins to settle over you, a profound sense of peace. The fears that chased you through Whitechapel's alleys, the chill that gnawed at your bones, all feel impossibly far away, like echoes from another life. You find yourself drifting, content to let the current take you to unravel thread by precious thread into this soft, warm oblivion. It's a strange freedom, this letting go, a quiet acceptance of the mind's profound capacity to create its own truth, however temporary, however false. The sweet, heavy warmth of the den still clings, a soft, seductive weight on your eyelids. But as your gaze attempts to cut through the perpetual, undulating curtain of golden-grey smoke, you begin to truly discern the faces around you. They are not merely blurred forms anymore, but distinct individuals, though deeply obscured by the haze and by something far more profound. It's their eyes that seize your attention, drawing you in with a strange, almost unsettling gravity. They are wide open, some of them unblinking yet utterly vacant. Others are half-closed, heavy-lidded, showing only a sliver of iris, dull and lusterless. They possess a peculiar glassy quality, reflecting nothing of the room, nothing of your presence, nothing of the tangible world you inhabit. They stare but they do not see, they merely gaze fixed upon some distant internal landscape that remains entirely their own. You move closer to a figure slumped on a low divan, their head resting against a stained cushion, a cold pipe dangling from limp fingers. You try to catch their eye to elicit even the slightest flicker of recognition, but there is nothing. It's like looking into a deep, still pool, the surface unbroken, revealing only darkness beneath. Their face, softened by the smoke and the drug, holds an expression of profound, almost beatific indifference, a calm that borders on the unsettling. There is no tension, no worry, no trace of the frantic anxieties that plague the world outside. The air around them feels heavy, not just with smoke, but with an almost palpable sense of detachment. It's as if their very souls have momentarily vacated their bodies, leaving behind only these vacant, unseeing shells. You feel a curious pang, a mixture of pity and a strange, morbid fascination. To be so utterly lost in one's own mind, so completely disconnected from the immediate, from the now, it's a terrifying, yet almost alluring prospect. You turn your attention to another and another. A young woman, her hair disheveled, a faint smile playing on her lips, her eyes fixed on some unseen wonder. An old man, his face etched with hardship, his gaze lost somewhere beyond the far wall. Each face, however different in its features, shares this same profound emptiness, this silent testament to a world abandoned. You realize that in this den, amidst this sweet, heavy smoke, these people are not truly present. They are merely vessels drifting through a dream, their eyes the glassy windows to their quiet, individual oblivion. It makes you wonder, with a sudden, chilling clarity, how much of yourself you might inadvertently leave behind in such a place, if you were to truly succumb to its sweet, pervasive embrace. The sweet, cloying fog of the den clings, dulling the world, yet a new sight cuts through its haze, pulling your attention. Amongst the still, almost statuesque figures deep in reverie, you spot someone different. A man slumped low on a worn cushion, his head not yet fully rested, his eyes flickering, darting almost nervously. But it's his hands that truly capture you. They are pale, almost translucent in the dim light, and they are not still. They tremble, a fine, persistent tremor runs through his fingers, making the brass pipe he holds in a loose, uncertain grip vibrate ever so slightly. It's not violent shaking, but a subtle, pathetic quivering, like a leaf in a barely there breeze. You can almost feel the tension in his forearms, the desperate effort to hold steady, to maintain some control even as the rest of him yields. His thumb strokes the warm bowl of the pipe, a repetitive, nervous gesture that speaks volumes of his internal struggle. You see the faint blue veins beneath his skin, the grimy crescent of his fingernails, details that are starkly human, starkly present, unlike the blankness of those around him. There's a raw vulnerability in this visible shaking, a silent testament to a mind caught between two worlds, the sharp, brutal reality outside and the seductive, blurring oblivion within. He's teetering on the precipice, not yet fully fallen, not yet completely lost. A drop of moisture clings to his knuckles, catching the dim lamplight. You feel an unexpected surge of something, not pity, but a deep, empathetic recognition of this fragile moment of transition. The air around him seems to thicken, heavy with his resistance, his slow, inevitable surrender. Each small tremor of his hand is a tiny, defiant protest against the drug's relentless pull, a final, fading spark of will before the descent. You realize that this isn't the serenity of the deeply lost, but the painful, exposed vulnerability of someone standing at the very edge, still connected, however tenuously, to the world they are about to leave. It's a chilling reminder of the slow, deliberate journey into oblivion, a visible sign of the fight being lost, moment by trembling moment. The sweet, heavy curtain of opium smoke still envelops you, its dulling embrace making the den feel like a world apart. The coughs and whispers blend into a low hum, the glassy stares of the lost flicker through the haze. But then, cutting through the pervasive lethargy, you catch a distinct sound, utterly out of place in this realm of worn fabric and grime. It's a soft rustle, a delicate, almost whispering glide that seems to weave through the stagnant air. Not the rough scrape of wool against itself, nor the muted thud of a boot on a splintered floor. No, this is different. This is the sound of silk, smooth, luxurious, whispering silk moving with an almost liquid grace. It's a sound that speaks of wealth, of refinement, of something utterly alien to the raw, visceral reality of Whitechapel, and indeed to the faded desperation of this particular haven. You crane your neck slightly, trying to pinpoint the source through the shifting, golden-grey clouds. The sound is subtle, easily missed, yet once heard, it insists upon itself, a curious, delicate thread woven into the rough tapestry of the den. It's almost startling in its clarity, in its unexpected elegance. You imagine the fabric itself, cool and smooth against skin, flowing with a whisper as its wearer moves, a stark contrast to the coarse, itchy wool that still chafes your own neck. The mere thought of such a material here, amidst the stench of stale opium and unwashed bodies, sends a curious shiver down your spine. It feels like a secret, a carefully guarded anomaly. Who in this forgotten corner of London would possess such finery, and why would they bring it into this shadowed retreat? The sound of it, light and elusive, seems to mock the heavy realities pressing down on everyone else. It introduces an element of unexpected grace, or perhaps a dangerous fragility, into a scene otherwise dominated by resignation and despair. You find yourself drawn, almost against your will, towards the direction of the soft rustling. It's a compelling auditory beacon, promising a glimpse into a hidden layer of this already clandestine world. The movement is slow, deliberate, each swish and whisper of the silk drawing you deeper into the intoxicating mystery. This delicate sound, so incongruous, so out of place, makes you realize how many different realities can exist, hidden and intertwined, even within the grimiest corners of a single city. A single whisper of silk can shatter the illusion of a homogeneous despair, revealing instead a tapestry woven with unexpected, luxurious threads. The sound of silk still whispers in the periphery, a ghost of luxury. You follow it deeper into the golden haze, but then a new sound cuts through the pervasive lethargy, a sharp, undeniable asterisk clink. Cold, metallic, and utterly precise, it slices through the muted hum of the den like a sliver of ice, momentarily disrupting the sweet, thick current of oblivion. This isn't the accidental dropping of a forgotten coin. No, this is the controlled, almost casual sound of something handled with deliberate, accustomed ease. It resonates with an unnerving confidence, a punctuation mark in the languid dreamscape around you. You push through a final, swirling veil of smoke, your eyes adjusting to a clearer pocket of air. There, in a corner half obscured, sits a figure. You can't make out many features, but their posture speaks volumes, upright, unslumped, an island of rigid form in a sea of collapsing bodies. It's from their hand that the sound emanates. They hold a small, ornate silver box polished to a dull gleam, catching the feeble dancing light. With a precise, almost disdainful flick of the wrist, they snap it shut, the cold clink resonating once more, a tiny, chilling echo of authority in the very stagnant air of the den. There's no opium pipe in their hand, no glazed, distant stare. Their head is subtly turned, as if observing the room, assessing its occupants, without ever truly engaging with the hazy reality. It's not the hungry gaze of the watchful poor, nor the lost gaze of the addicted. This is something else, a look of ownership, of calculating detachment. You sense an undeniable aura of control, sharp and unyielding, emanating like a sudden, unexpected chill, despite the room's oppressive warmth. The sweet, heavy air which dulls everyone else seems to ripple around this individual, leaving them untouched, their resolve unbent by its seductive embrace. The cold clink of the silver box closing, a seemingly insignificant gesture, hangs in the air, weighted with palpable power. It speaks not of surrender, but of transactions, of choices being made, of a will that has not succumbed to the gentle unraveling offered by the opium. You feel a sudden, jarring prickle of apprehension, a tension tightening in your chest that momentarily cuts through the drug's softening influence. This person is an anomaly, a stark deviation from the predictable patterns of the den. They are a predator, perhaps, or simply a meticulous overseer, moving amongst the somnambulant figures with unnerving clarity. They exist on a different plane, one firmly tethered to the world of power, of decisions, of waking, unforgiving reality, entirely untouched by the sticky, sweet dream that consumes all others. It's a chilling contrast, this sharp, cold precision against the soft, yielding despair that saturates the den. The sound itself is a tiny metallic whisper of command, a potent reminder that even in places designed solely for oblivion, there are those who remain tethered firmly and deliberately to the world of currency, of influence, of waking, unforgiving reality. You realize that true control isn't merely about what you take, it's profoundly about what you steadfastly refuse to give up, even in a place where everyone else has willingly surrendered everything. It's a sobering thought in the heart of this intoxicating illusion. The sweet, heavy shroud of opium smoke still hangs around you, a persistent, cloying presence. It dulls the edges of everything, muffling the whispers, softening the light. But then, cutting through its thick, narcotic sweetness, a new, stark scent asserts itself. It's a clean, bracing smell, utterly alien to the den's pervasive warmth, the sharp, undeniable tang of salt mingled with the deep, earthy bitterness of tar. It's a powerful, almost aggressive aroma, startling in its clarity. You taste the salt on your tongue, a sudden, surprising prickle that momentarily cuts through the syrupy sweetness of the opium. It's like a sudden gust of sea air, raw and invigorating, forcefully pulling your mind back from the drifting currents of the drug. The tar, rich and smoky, evokes images of rough ropes, of creaking wooden hulls, of damp, cold docks. It speaks of distant voyages, of harsh labor, of a world far removed from this quiet, hazy oblivion. You find yourself inhaling deeply, trying to trace the source of this peculiar intrusion. It's a ghost of a smell clinging to the air, not strong enough to suggest an open barrel of pitch or a recently returned sailor, but rather the faint, lingering imprint on a person, on their clothes, on their skin. It's a memory perhaps carried in unnoticed fibers, a phantom sent from the vast, indifferent expanse of the London docks, brought here deep into Whitechapel's hidden heart. Your gaze sweeps through the golden-grey haze, searching for the person, the object that carries this sharp maritime echo. The contrast is jarring, the sweet, languid forgetfulness of the den suddenly pierced by this vivid, almost violent reminder of the outside world's grit and struggle. It's a sensory paradox, forcing a flicker of clarity into your opium-softened mind. The very presence of such an aroma here feels like a deliberate challenge, a whisper of harsh reality intruding upon the carefully constructed illusion of peace. The smell evokes not just the docks, but the endless, unforgiving churn of the river, a profound connection to the world of work, of commerce, of tangible, unyielding truths. It's a sobering counterpoint to the escapism surrounding you. You realize how easily the most unexpected sensory details can pierce through the thickest veils, pulling you back to a reality you were so close to forgetting. This phantom scent of salt and tar is more than just a smell. It's a stubborn, enduring fragment of an inescapable world, clinging stubbornly, refusing to be lost. The ghost of salt and tar still lingers, a sharp, incongruous tang amidst the cloying, sweet haze of the opium den. It's a smell that pulls at something deep within you, a phantom echo of the vast, open world beyond these grimy walls. And as the opium works its insidious magic, softening the edges of your perception, that scent begins to transform, weaving itself into the very fabric of your unraveling mind. Suddenly, the oppressive weight of the smoke seems to lift, dissolving not into thin air but into a brilliant, almost blinding golden light. You feel it on your face, a profound, undeniable warmth utterly alien to Whitechapel's perpetual chill. It's the sun, real and glorious, beating down with a gentle, caressing heat that seeps into your bones, thawing the deep-seated cold, bringing a forgotten sense of vitality. Your eyelids, heavy moments before, now feel light, almost transparent, as you gaze out upon an impossibly vast, shimmering expanse of blue. It stretches endlessly before you, a boundless sapphire sea, its surface catching the sun in a million dancing sparkles. You feel a gentle, rhythmic sway, as if you're afloat on something buoyant and safe, a small vessel moving effortlessly across the water. The suffocating sweetness of the opium is replaced by the clean, sharp zest of the ocean air, invigorating your lungs with each deep, effortless breath. The muffled coughs and whispers of the den are gone, replaced by the soft, rhythmic lapping of waves against an unseen hull, a hypnotic symphony of peace. You hear the distant, lonely cry of a seagull, a sound that speaks of boundless freedom and untamed wilderness, not of cramped, despairing alleys. Your body feels lighter, unbound, liberated from the heavy stickiness that moments ago threatened to swallow you whole. This is pure, unadulterated sensation, the vastness of the sky above, the endless horizon before you, the blissful warmth on your skin, the cool spray on your lips. It's a dream, you know it is, yet its reality is so potent, so utterly compelling, that the dark, smoky den feels like the true illusion. Here, in this sun-drenched expanse, there is no fear, no gnawing hunger, no relentless cold, only an infinite, sun-kissed calm. You are utterly, profoundly lost in its embrace, a willing prisoner of its beautiful, transient warmth, momentarily freed from the heavy, demanding truths of the world you've left behind. You realize how easily the mind can conjure its most profound desires, finding a sunlit sea even in the deepest, smokiest corners of human despair. The sweet, heavy shroud of opium smoke still clings to you, a warm, pervasive blanket that dulls the edges of the world. The sounds of the den, the languid coughs, the hushed whispers, are a constant low hum. Your mind, still softened by the drug's embrace, drifts, but then a subtle thread, almost too faint to perceive, weaves its way through the dense, cloying air, a scent that is utterly out of place. It's a perfume. Not the sharp, heady notes of something freshly applied, nor the cheap, cloying sweetness that might cling to a passing woman of the streets. No, this is something ancient, delicate, and deeply faded. It's the ghost of a floral essence, perhaps jasmine or rose, but tinged with something melancholy, something that whispers of a forgotten spring, a ball long past, a silk gown folded away in a forgotten chest. You have to strain to catch it, a mere suggestion, like a memory that refuses to entirely vanish. You inhale slowly, trying to capture this elusive phantom to give it form. It's not emanating from any of the figures slumped in the room. Their scents are of stale smoke and unwashed fabric. This perfume feels older, infused into the very wood of a forgotten table, perhaps, or clinging to a faded scrap of velvet. It speaks of a different world entirely, a realm of cleanliness, of quiet elegance, of something once cherished now left to decay. The contrast is stark, almost painful. This whisper of vanished grace, this echo of refinement, feels profoundly out of place in the grimy, smoke-filled desperation of the opium den. It's a fragment of beauty, left behind, abandoned, and now slowly being consumed by the pervasive smells of despair and forgotten lives. You feel a curious pang of sadness, a recognition of something precious that has been lost, a story untold, now merely a fading aroma in the stagnant air. You move a little closer to a shadowed corner, drawn by the tantalizing hint of the scent, your fingers brushing against a dusty, threadbare curtain. For a fleeting moment, the fragrance intensifies, almost a sigh, before dissolving back into the dominant sweetness of the opium. It leaves you with an unsettling sense of longing, a reminder that even in the darkest, most neglected corners, traces of past lives, of former glories, can stubbornly linger, haunting the present with their soft, fading echoes. It's a testament to how deeply memories and their scents can embed themselves, refusing to be entirely erased, even by the most potent of poisons. The lingering perfume, that ghost of last year's elegance, still weaves through the den's thick, sweet air. It pulls you into a buried memory. You close your eyes, the den's golden haze shifting. Suddenly, you're in a sun-dappled room. A warmth spreads across your cheek, a gentle touch. Soft skin, faint lips, hesitant then firm. The perfume, vibrant, surrounds you, rose and jasmine. You taste delicate sweetness, another's breath. A soft sigh fills your being. For a moment you are held, enveloped in tenderness, forgotten joy. The cold is gone, the city's grime, a fading dream. Every nerve sings with remembered bliss. Then it shatters. Sharp, guttural, a ragged cough tears through the fragile dream. Your eyes snap open. The sun-dappled room vanishes, replaced by the murky, golden-grey den. Sweetness turns acrid. Warmth vanishes, replaced by the lamp's stale heat. Whitechapel's chill, a creeping memory. The cough comes again, deeper, wetter, from a slumped figure hacking violently. You hear the sickening sound of phlegm, tortured lungs. It's raw, visceral disease. The perfume is gone, obliterated by stale smoke, unwashed bodies, a bitter, coppery taste. The kiss, the delicate touch, all scrubbed away by sickness. You watch the heaving shoulders, the obscured face. The memory recedes, a pale echo. The mind builds illusions, but the body, rooted in reality, always has the final word. Memory, easily conjured, is just as easily dispelled by the present, leaving you adrift in this unforgiving reality. The sweet, heavy shroud of opium smoke still clings to you, a warm, pervasive blanket. The low hum of coughs and whispers is a soothing backdrop, your mind drifting, soft and unmoored. But then, a sound rips through it all. Not a cough, not a whisper, not the gentle clink of metal. This is a sharp, shrill, utterly alien sound, the unmistakable piercing blast of a police whistle, a high, insistent shriek that slices through the den's warm lethargy like a shard of ice. It's a violent intrusion, an unexpected, painful stab directly into the heart of the quiet oblivion you were inhabiting. The sound vibrates in your very bones, shaking your teeth. Every muscle in your body tenses, a sharp, involuntary jerk that pulls you instantly, brutally, back to a harsh, cold reality. Your heart, moments ago a slow, languid drum, now hammers against your ribs, a frantic, urgent beat. The sweet taste in your mouth turns bitter, acrid like ash. The golden grey smoke, which moments before seemed a comforting veil, now feels like a suffocating trap, its thick embrace suddenly menacing. All around you, the dream shatters. You see figures previously lost in their reverie stir with a jolt. Some gasp, others groan, limbs moving awkwardly as if suddenly reanimated. Eyes, once glassy and distant, flicker with a nascent panic, struggling to focus, to understand. Heads lift slowly, painfully, turning towards the low doorway that leads back to the grim streets of Whitechapel. The whistle blasts again, closer this time, its shrill cry echoing off the grimy walls, no longer a distant threat but an imminent, undeniable presence. You feel a prickle of cold sweat on your neck. The memory of that unfamiliar will itch, now a minor concern compared to the sudden, icy grip of fear. The carefully constructed piece of the den evaporates, leaving behind a raw, exposed vulnerability. The dream is over, the curtain is pulled back, a sense of urgent dread washes over you, chilling you far more profoundly than any London fog. You realize with a sickening lurch how utterly exposed you are, how quickly even the deepest, most pervasive illusion can be shattered by a single sharp sound, dragging you back to an unforgiving reality you had so desperately tried to escape. The whistle's fading echo is a stark reminder of the relentless world outside, a world that demands reckoning, a world that refuses to be ignored. The shrill, piercing blast of the police whistle still echoes, a phantom vibration in your teeth, tearing through the den's sweet, heavy haze. But then, as abruptly as it began, it ceases. An immense, suffocating silence descends, heavier and more profound than any sound. It's not a peaceful quiet but a terrified, predatory stillness that swallows every other noise, every cough, every whisper, every soft rustle of silk. You feel it in your chest, a sudden crushing weight as if all the air has been sucked from the room. Your own breath hitches, loud and ragged in this vacuum. The golden grey smoke, which moments ago drifted languidly, now seems to hang absolutely still, frozen like a photograph of a cloud. Every figure in the den, previously stirring with alarm, is now utterly motionless. Heads that had lifted slowly are now rigid, faces turned towards the low doorway, their expressions a stark, unanimous tableau of dread. The silence is absolute, yet it screams. You hear the frantic thumping of your own heart, a drumbeat against your ribs, impossibly loud in the void. Your ears strain, picking up only the distant, muted thud of heavy boots on cobbled stone, growing closer, inexorable. The silence in the den itself is so complete, so terrifying, that it feels like a physical entity pressing down on your skull, urging you to be as still, as unbreathing as the lost souls around you. No one dares to move. No one dares to speak. Even the light from the flickering oil lamps seems to dim, as if the very flames are holding their breath, cowed by the sheer weight of this sudden, terrible quiet. You can taste the fear in the air now, sharp and metallic, cutting through the cloying sweetness of the opium. It's an overwhelming, visceral sensation, this suffocating silence, a palpable absence that signals the end of illusion and the brutal advent of reality. You are acutely aware of every stiff joint, every tension in your muscles, every frantic beat of your heart. The den, which offered escape, now feels like a cage, its silence a grim promise of discovery. You realize with a chilling certainty that some silences are not meant for peace, but for the stark, undeniable truth of what's to come, a dreadful prelude to an inescapable reckoning. The suffocating silence in the den still feels heavy, a tangible weight on your chest. The bitter tang of fear mixes with the sweet, cloying opium smoke. Your mind, reeling from the sudden shock, desperately grasps for solace, for something utterly removed from the grime and dread. And then it appears not on a plate but directly on your tongue, a taste so vivid, so rich, it completely overwhelms the acrid metallic edge in your mouth. You taste roast beef. Not just a faint hint, but the full, succulent flavor of it, richly browned, still pink in the center, swimming in a thick, dark gravy. You feel the imagined tender texture of it yielding under your teeth, releasing a burst of savory juices. Alongside it, the sweet, earthy crunch of roasted carrots, their edges caramelized, and the soft, fluffy interior of potatoes mashed with real butter melting on your tongue. The aroma of it fills your nostrils, pushing away the stale opium, filling your head with a profound, almost dizzying comfort. It's a symphony of warmth and richness, a feast for every sense born purely of desire. The warmth of the imagined food spreads through your chest, chasing away the bone-deep chill that still lingers from Whitechapel. You can almost feel the weight of a heavy fork in your hand, the gentle clink of china against the low hum of the den's lingering silence. This isn't a memory, not exactly. It's an urgent, undeniable creation of your own mind, a defiant act against the pervasive hunger, the cold, the terror that threatens to consume you. The opium perhaps acts as the skilled chef, meticulously crafting this illusion, making it more real, more potent than any actual meal you've tasted in weeks. You swallow, the imagined warmth traveling down your throat, a moment of profound, blissful satisfaction. It's a complete sensory experience, utterly immersive, yet you know deep down that it exists only within the confines of your skull. The contrast is brutal, the sheer, overwhelming reality of this imagined feast against the undeniable, gnawing emptiness of your stomach, the grimy, cold reality of the den. You realize how incredibly potent the mind is, capable of conjuring the most profound comforts, the most desperate desires, even when the body is utterly bereft. It's a testament to human resilience, this ability to feed the soul even when the plate is empty. The imagined feast, that glorious, succulent roast beef, still lingers on your mental palate, a cruel, taunting ghost of warmth and flavor. But as the last, exquisite mouthful dissolves, so too does its comforting illusion. A cold, sharp void blossoms deep within your stomach, expanding, stretching, an undeniable emptiness that screams reality louder than any police whistle could. The sweet, buttery taste in your mouth turns to bitter ash, leaving behind a dry, raw hollowness that aches with a sudden, ferocious intensity, a physical protest against the mind's fleeting indulgence. This isn't the polite rumble of a missed meal. This is a primal, relentless gnawing, a deep, churning emptiness that pulls at your gut, making your muscles clench involuntarily. It's a hunger that bypasses reason, demanding immediate visceral satisfaction, a basic animal cry from within. The delicate crunch of imagined carrots is brutally replaced by the dull, grinding ache of a stomach protesting its own profound vacancy, its insistent clamor overriding any lingering opium-induced calm. You find yourself licking your lips instinctively, desperately for a phantom trace of that feast, but find only the metallic tang of the drug and the raw dryness of your mouth. The den itself, which moments ago offered fragile refuge in a dream of plenty, suddenly feels colder, grimmer, its sweet smoke now a cruel mockery of comfort. The figures slumped around you, once blurred by the opium's haze, now stand out in stark, painful relief. Their gaunt faces and hollow eyes a chilling, undeniable mirror to your own burgeoning discomfort and desperation. You feel a sudden, profound connection to their silent suffering, their own desperate quests for oblivion, driven perhaps by this very same relentless ache. Your mind, which had been so eager to conjure sustenance, now struggles against the sharp, insistent demand of your body. The police whistles shriek, the chilling silence, the pervasive dread of discovery, all these external threats now mingle with the internal agony of a body craving sustenance, a torment that cannot be reasoned with. It's a brutal awakening, this violent return of hunger, reminding you that even the most potent drugs can only postpone, never erase, the fundamental demands of the flesh, of simple, raw survival. You press a hand against your belly, trying instinctively to quell the protest, but it's a futile gesture. The cold, empty space throbs with a dull, persistent pain, a pulsing reminder of vulnerability, of an undeniable truth that no amount of smoke or illusion can ever truly silence. This is the body's defiant, insistent cry, its unwavering refusal to be entirely subsumed by the mind's deceptive comforts. You are undeniably here, and you are profoundly, undeniably, and painfully hungry. The den's sudden, suffocating silence still feels heavy, a chilling counterpoint to the distant, rhythmic thud of approaching boots. The imagined feast has long vanished, replaced by the gnawing ache of hunger. Your mind, though clearer now, still carries the lingering haze of opium, softening the edges of immediate dread. Your gaze, restless, falls to the floorboards beneath your feet, a patchwork of splintered wood lost under layers of accumulated grime. You instinctively reach out a hand, your fingertips brushing across the grimy surface near a low, stained cushion. What you feel is not simply dust. It's a fine, insidious grit, almost like coarse sand, mingled with a pervasive grey ash. It clings to your skin, feeling unnervingly dry and slightly oily at the same time, leaving a faint, dark residue on your fingertips. The smell of it is subtle, a dry, burnt aroma, mingling with the cloying sweetness of the opium. This is the lingering essence of countless pipes, of 1,000 dreams gone up in smoke, compressed and trodden into the very fabric of the den's floor. You rub your thumb and forefinger together, feeling the persistent coarseness of the ash, the way it seems to burrow into the lines of your skin. It's a tangible record of every pipe smoked, every moment of oblivion sought. Each tiny particle feels charged with unspoken stories, with the quiet despair and fleeting joys of those who have passed through this haze. This isn't just dirt, it's the pulverized remains of 1,000 altered realities, a silent testament to the hours spent here surrendered to the drug. Your eyes, still adjusting to the meager light, begin to pick out faint, almost iridescent specks within the grey, a subtle shimmer from discarded flecks of tobacco, or perhaps something even more mysterious swallowed by the accumulating detritus. The air itself seems heavier with this particulate history, a silent, pervasive archive of desperate lives. It's a profound contrast to the immateriality of the dreams conjured by the drug. This ash is solid, unyielding, a physical manifestation of the passage of time and the quiet erasure of existence. You realize with a shiver that has nothing to do with Whitechapel's chill, that within this pervasive grit, under the weight of so many forgotten moments, there might be traces, forgotten clues, secrets left behind by those who sought only to escape. This ordinary ash, so easily dismissed, now feels like a silent keeper of profound, unbidden truths, waiting to be disturbed, waiting to be revealed. It's a chilling thought. How much of our lives, our hopes, our fears, are ultimately reduced to such an unassuming, gritty residue. The gritty ash still clings to your fingertips, a pervasive memory of lost dreams, but as you instinctively sift through the grime near the low cushion, your knuckles brush against something unexpectedly hard and cold. It's not wood, not stone, but metal, smooth and unyielding. Your fingers close around it, pulling it free from its bed of dust and forgotten hopes. In the dim, smoky light, it gleams with a startling, almost arrogant brilliance. A silver signet ring. It's not a common piece of jewelry. This is heavy, solid, crafted with an intricate precision that speaks of old money of generations. Your thumb traces the etched surface, feeling the raised, noble lines of a heraldic crest, a rampant lion perhaps, or a stylized shield crowned with a delicate, almost haughty coronet. It's tarnished, yes, dulled by the den's pervasive filth, yet its inherent quality, its cold, undeniable gleam, remains unbroken, stubbornly refusing to blend in with the surrounding squalor. This is a stark, jarring anomaly. A symbol of lineage, of unwavering status, lying discarded in this forgotten corner where all other identities have dissolved into the sweet, heavy embrace of oblivion. Who would possess such an item, and why would it be left here, amongst the debris of so many broken lives? The cold metal in your hand feels profoundly out of place, a solid, unyielding fragment of a world utterly separate from the desperation that breathes within these walls. The distant thud of the approaching boots seems to intensify, their rhythm a stark counterpoint to the ring's silent declaration of wealth and power. This isn't just a lost trinket. It's a profound question, a tangible thread leading back to a life of privilege, now irrevocably entwined with the hidden misery of Whitechapel. You clutch it tighter, the cold silver a sudden heavy weight, a secret held tight in the palm of your hand. It's a sobering thought how easily the symbols of status can become lost, swallowed by the very shadows they were designed to defy, leaving behind only a cold, perplexing gleam in the grimy ash. The suffocating silence in the den still hangs heavy, a palpable dread in the air, broken only by the insistent, distant thud of approaching boots. Your hand instinctively clutches the cold, silver signet ring you found, its gleam a stark contrast to the grime. Then, cutting through the eerie stillness, overriding the soft shuffle of fear, comes a new sound. It's a deep, uneven rumble, a grinding thrum that vibrates through the very floorboards beneath your feet, rattling the loose planks, sending a shiver directly up your spine. This is the unmistakable, jarring sound of a carriage, a hansom cab perhaps, or something heavier. its iron-rimmed wheels grinding relentlessly against the uneven cobblestones outside. It's a sound of the bustling, unforgiving streets magnified by the night, and it feels utterly out of place here in this haven of deliberate oblivion. The rumble isn't smooth. It judders, skips, and scrapes, a noisy, clumsy beast attempting to navigate Whitechapel's perilous, unseen terrain. Each bump and jostle of the unseen vehicle sends a fresh tremor through the den, a jarring, physical reminder of the world you'd tried so hard to escape. You see the figures around you, previously rigid with fear, stir with a renewed, almost frantic agitation. A man nearby, his head still resting heavily on a cushion, groans softly as the vibrations seem to course through his very bones. Another, previously staring blankly, blinks rapidly, his eyes struggling to adjust, his body betraying a desperate, involuntary flinch with each fresh lurch of the carriage outside. This is not the measured approach of the police on foot. This is a more brazen, more public arrival, an announcement that demands attention, breaking the carefully preserved illusion of invisibility. The rumble grows louder, closer, its heavy, uneven rhythm seeming to pound against the very walls of the den, each vibration a sharp, painful jolt that strips away another layer of the opium's lingering embrace. You can almost feel the weight of the carriage, the straining horses, the sheer brute force of it as it navigates the murky, fog-bound streets. It's a sound of invasion, of an external force asserting its dominance, refusing to be ignored. You realize with a sudden chilling clarity that this isn't just a carriage passing by. This is a deliberate presence, an undeniable declaration from the outside world that this hidden sanctuary, this fragile pocket of forgetfulness, is utterly exposed, utterly vulnerable. The jarring rumble is a brutal trumpet blast, shattering any lingering hope of peaceful oblivion. It's a sobering thought, how a simple, everyday sound can transform into such a profound, terrifying harbinger of an unwelcome reality. The jarring rumble of the carriage outside, still resonating in your bones, is abruptly overshadowed by an entirely different, overwhelming sensation. The sweet, cloying air of the opium den seems to evaporate, replaced by a profound, almost suffocating warmth that hits you with the force of a physical blow. It's a heat that presses in from all sides, heavy and inert, instantly drawing a fine sheen of sweat to your skin, making your shirt cling uncomfortably to your back. This isn't the damp, biting chill of Whitechapel, nor the languid heat of the opium lamps. This is a dense, deliberate warmth, meticulously maintained, yet utterly oppressive. You breathe it in and your lungs feel thick, struggling against the rich, heavy air. It's saturated with the unmistakable aroma of expensive cigar smoke, aged and potent, clinging to velvet, mingling with the deep, earthy scent of old leather and polished wood, and a faint, sharp tang of fine whiskey. It's the smell of wealth, of comfort, of privilege, but in this concentration, it's cloying, almost sickeningly sweet, pressing against your sinuses. It feels as though the very air is too heavy to move, stagnant despite its warmth, trapping you within its luxurious embrace. Your eyes, still adjusting from the den's haze, perceive muted colors through the lingering heat shimmer. Deep reds, forest greens, burnished browns, the hues of thick carpets, plush armchairs, and dark mahogany paneling. Sounds reach you as if through layers of felt, the murmur of low conversations, the gentle clink of glasses, the soft rustle of turned newspaper pages. Everything is hushed, subdued, controlled, yet the very silence, like the warmth, feels profound and suffocating, a velvet trap. You feel a dull ache begin behind your eyes, a slight dizziness from the sheer weight of the atmosphere. Your movements feel sluggish, each breath a conscious effort against the dense, perfumed air. There's a curious sense of confinement, not from walls too close, but from an excess of deliberate comfort, a smothering opulence that demands a certain stillness, a certain quiet compliance. This isn't a refuge from the outside world. It's a different kind of prison, meticulously crafted from luxury and stifling warmth. Even in this imagined or remembered opulence, a new dread begins to brew. You realize how easily one could become lost, smothered in this kind of oppressive comfort, just as profoundly as in the sweet oblivion of the opium den. Both offer an escape, but both, in their own way, demand a slow, insidious surrender to a reality that is not entirely your own. The oppressive warmth of the gentleman's club still wraps around you, heavy and thick with the scent of old leather and expensive cigar smoke. The muted clink of glasses and hushed murmurs are a constant, low drone. But then cutting through this luxurious haze, a distinctive, precise sound emerges, sharp and undeniable, the crisp, dry rustle of paper. Not just any paper, but the unmistakable whisper of freshly printed banknotes, handled with a casual, practiced ease. You hear it clearly, a flurry of delicate friction, a precise crackle as a hand sorts through a thick stack. It's a sound that instantly conjures images of significant sums, of transactions conducted without a hint of hesitation. This is followed by a soft, yet heavy thud, the sound of a substantial ledger closing with a decisive finality, its leather-bound covers meeting with a muffled clap that speaks of secrets sealed, of figures balanced. Your eyes, still adjusting to the subdued lighting, are drawn to a shadowed corner where a figure sits, half obscured by a high-backed armchair. You glimpse a hand, meticulously counting, its movements unhurried, almost ritualistic. The green of the banknotes, though muted, flashes briefly, a potent splash of color against the somber tones of the room. This isn't the desperate exchange of coins in an alley. This is money as a tool, a measure, handled with a quiet authority that belies its paper fragility. The scent of old paper and ink, faint but distinct, adds to the sensory tapestry, mingling with the pervasive cigar smoke. You feel a subtle tension in the air, a seriousness that contrasts sharply with the languid despair of the opium den, or even the fear sparked by the police whistle. Here, the stakes are different. The decisions made, the figures recorded in those heavy ledgers, carry a weight that shapes lives, that alters destinies far beyond the immediate moment. Each crisp rustle, each soft thud, is a punctuation mark in the silent narrative of power and influence that underpins this elegant, stifling room. You realize that this is the true currency of this world, not just gold and silver but meticulously documented transactions, carefully managed wealth. It's a sobering thought, this tangible evidence of control, in a place where fortunes are quietly made and unmade, their echoes reverberating far beyond these plush walls. This is where the real mechanisms of Whitechapel, and perhaps all of London, are silently, precisely at play, their secrets bound in ledgers and whispered in the crisp rustle of paper. The oppressive warmth of the gentleman's club still clings to you, heavy and thick with the scent of expensive cigar smoke, aged leather and polished wood. It's a heat that presses in from all sides, a deliberate stifling comfort that instantly draws a fine sheen of sweat to your skin, making your shirt cling uncomfortably. The crisp rustle of banknotes and the decisive thud of ledgers moments ago have now settled into a low, pervasive hum of financial gravity. You find yourself near a gleaming mahogany bar, a crystal glass filled with rich, amber liquid placed before you. You lift it, the exquisite coolness of the smooth glass a stark contrast to the stifling air, and take a slow, deliberate sip. The first taste is profoundly rich and potent, a powerful, almost immediate warmth that spreads through your mouth and down your throat. It's unquestionably fine brandy, a masterfully crafted spirit offering a complex symphony of aged oak and ripe fruit, underpinned by a subtle, alluring sweetness. It burns, certainly, but a pleasant, deep burn, a comforting heat that momentarily pushes back the insidious chill of Whitechapel streets, and even the lingering, disorienting haze of the opium den. For a fleeting moment, it's pure, unadulterated pleasure, a sophisticated sensory balm. But then, as the initial comforting warmth of the spirit begins to subside, something within the flavor shifts dramatically, subtly yet undeniably. A new note emerges, sharp and profoundly acrid, cutting through the lingering sweetness like a rusted blade. It's a distinct bitterness utterly absent moments before, a metallic tang that catches at the very back of your tongue, transforming the rich, inviting flavor of the brandy into something sour, almost repugnant. You find yourself swallowing hard, a sudden reflexive distaste twisting your features. It's not merely the spirit turning, it's the palpable taste of something tainted, deeply corrupted, a potent, unsettling flavor of moral decay that seems to seep from the polished surfaces, from the opulent tapestries, from the hushed conversations themselves. You cast your gaze around the sumptuous club, observing the men in their perfectly tailored suits, their expressions of quiet confidence. They exchange low, discreet conversations, their faces, momentarily softened by the amber glow of the gaslights, seem to harden and sharpen as you look closer. You see the subtle, almost imperceptible shift in their eyes as they discuss profits, investments, the unseen, intricate threads connecting their world of opulent comfort and unquestioned privilege directly to the grinding poverty of Whitechapel's dark alleys and its desperate opium dens. The gentle clink of their crystal glasses, the soft, crisp rustle of their money, these sounds, once merely the elegant backdrop of their insulated luxury, now resonate with a hollow, almost mocking echo, exposing the stark, uncomfortable truth. The brandy, which had been so inviting, so promising of sophisticated escape, now burns with a different, far more insidious kind of heat, a slow, deeply unpleasant scorch that feels less like a spirit and more like a chemical reaction in your gut. It's the bitter, undeniable taste of hypocrisy, a raw, profoundly unsettling recognition of the stark divides, the convenient blindness, and the quiet, pervasive complicity that allows such disparate worlds to not only coexist, but to intimately feed upon one another. You realize with a sudden chilling clarity that some comforts, however exquisite, however meticulously crafted, come laced with a fundamental, undeniable truth that renders them utterly unpalatable, leaving behind a lingering, unavoidable residue of moral compromise, a stain that even the finest brandy cannot wash away. You step out of the oppressive warmth of the gentleman's club, the heavy, perfumed air still clinging to your clothes. The sudden, biting chill of the London night is a shock, a stark slap after the stifling luxury. But it's not the cold fog that truly seizes you. No, it's the abrupt, icy touch against the back of your neck. A precise, unyielding pressure, cold as grave dust, sharp enough to send a jolt of pure terror straight through you. Your breath catches, a strangled gasp escaping your lips. Every muscle in your body locks, rigid with sudden, instinctive fear. You don't need to look. You feel it. The distinct chilling texture of polished steel, smooth yet utterly merciless, pressing against the delicate skin just beneath your ear. It's a metallic kiss, a promise of swift, silent violence held in the flickering, uncertain glow of the gaslight. You're in a narrow passage, its walls slick with perpetual damp. The lone gas lamp overhead hisses softly, casting long, distorted shadows that dance and writhe around you like watchful specters. Its meager light barely penetrates the encroaching fog, leaving the ends of the passage swallowed by an inky blackness. The air, thick with the smell of wet brick and stagnant refuse, suddenly feels thin, inadequate for your suddenly frantic lungs. Your heart pounds a deafening rhythm against your ribs, each beat echoing in your ears, amplifying the horrifying stillness of the moment. You feel the slow, deliberate movement of the steel, a tiny, almost imperceptible shift that speaks volumes of the unseen hand that wields it. It's a declaration, chilling and undeniable, delivered without a single word. You are trapped, utterly at the mercy of this unseen presence, this cold, silent threat. The warmth of the brandy, the comfort of the club, the very memory of the opium's embrace, all vanish, obliterated by the stark, terrifying reality of that cold, unyielding steel. You are no longer an observer, no longer adrift in illusion. You are undeniably here. This sudden intrusion of sharp, cold reality forces a harrowing clarity upon you. In a single, terrifying instant, you realize how profoundly fragile existence truly is, how quickly the most opulent comfort can dissolve into the raw, brutal fear of an inevitable end. The world, so complex and layered moments ago, has shrunk to this single, cold point of contact, this chilling whisper of steel, and the profound, absolute vulnerability it so cruelly brings. The icy touch of steel against your neck remains, a chilling, unwavering pressure that steals your breath and freezes your muscles. The gaslight flickers, casting long, monstrous shadows, and the cold, damp air of the passage is thick with the smell of wet brick and stagnant refuse. But then, as your senses sharpen, hyper-aware of your profound vulnerability, a new, far more insidious aroma asserts itself, wrapping around you, intimate and utterly repugnant. It's the undeniable, stinging scent of cheap gin. Raw acrid, it assaults your nostrils, sharp enough to make your eyes water, a brutal assault that pushes through the metallic tang of the steel and the grime of the alley. It's not the fine, aged spirits of the club, but a crude, volatile liquor, its fumes speaking of desperation, of oblivion sought in the cheapest possible form. You can almost taste its burning potency at the back of your throat, a phantom burn that mimics the real terror seizing you. Yet this gin isn't alone. Beneath its harsh, alcoholic bite, a far more unsettling note emerges, subtle at first, then growing, sickeningly distinct. It's the smell of decay, not merely old dirt or forgotten rubbish, but a deeper organic putrefaction, the faint, sweet-sour tang of something that has begun to turn to rot. It's a whisper of mouldering cloth, of unwashed skin that has lingered too long in the shadows, of something vaguely animal perhaps left to fester. The combination is a vile, potent perfume. The raw, defiant reek of the gutter mingled with the insidious promise of the grave. This abhorrent bouquet emanates directly from behind you, from the unseen presence whose cold steel presses against your skin. It's not just a person. It's an environment, a living embodiment of Whitechapel's bleakest corners, condensed into an unbearable, intimate proximity. You feel a wave of nausea, a churning in your gut that transcends fear, a physical revulsion at the sheer, suffocating unpleasantness of it. It's a warning delivered not just with the cold threat of steel, but with the full, visceral assault of these wretched, intimately clinging odors. The air around you feels dense, heavy with this message. The decaying scent speaks of neglect, of a life lived on the fringes, or perhaps of recent, terrible acts. It's a smell that leaves no room for doubt about the nature of your predicament, or the kind of individual who now holds your life in their hands. There's no illusion here, no sweet opium haze to soften the edges, no opulent club to obscure the truth. This is raw, unvarnished danger, a palpable threat that bypasses thought and plunges directly into the instinctual, the primal. You feel a profound shiver course through your body, a deep-seated chill that has nothing to do with the night air, but everything to do with the chilling reality of what this scent portends. It's a silent, undeniable declaration, delivered by the very air you breathe, that you are now face to face with the grim, uncompromising underbelly of London. You realize with a sickening clarity that some warnings are not spoken, but simply felt, tasted, and irrevocably breathed in, leaving a lingering, putrid stain on your very soul, a stark reminder of the fragile line between life and oblivion. This combination of harsh gin and underlying decay isn't merely an unpleasant smell, it's the very breath of an unforgiving, merciless reality, an intimate whisper from the abyss. The icy touch of steel against your neck, that bitter reek of gin and decay, remains a suffocating reality. Your heart pounds a frantic rhythm against your ribs, each beat deafening in the narrow passage. But then the pressure of the steel shifts slightly, a whisper of a release that allows you an involuntary, desperate turn. And through the gaslight's flickering, uncertain glow, through the encroaching London fog, you finally see them. Their face, half obscured by shadow and the swirling mist, slowly takes shape. And it's not the hardened, unknown visage you'd braced yourself for. No, it's a face you know, a face you trusted, a face that now holds an expression utterly alien. Your breath catches a new, colder shock replacing the terror. Their eyes, that's what truly seizes you. They are wide open, fixed upon yours, but utterly hollow, devoid of any warmth, any recognition of shared history. There's no malice there, no anger, not even triumph, just a profound, unsettling emptiness, like looking into a deep, dark well. They're the eyes of someone who has shed all conscience, all empathy, leaving behind only a chilling, vacant resolve. It's a gaze that chills you far more profoundly than any steel, because it speaks of a betrayal so absolute, so complete, it feels like a wound directly to your soul. A flicker of light from the gas lamp catches their features, revealing the familiar contours but warped, subtly altered by this chilling new understanding. You see the faint line of their jaw, the familiar curve of their lips, yet every feature now seems to twist into a grotesque mask, a silent testament to the lie they embodied. Their hand, the one that holds the weapon, is steady, unnervingly so, a stark contrast to your own trembling limbs. There's a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on their mouth, a fleeting shadow of satisfaction that speaks of a long-planned, meticulously executed deceit. The gin and decay suddenly taste even more vile, more sickeningly intimate, as if this person embodies all the filth and rot of Whitechapel itself. You feel the crushing weight of shattered trust, a cold, hard knot in your gut that aches with a pain more profound than any physical threat. This isn't merely danger, this is a personal, devastating undoing. You realize with a sickening lurch how truly blind you had been, how effortlessly deception can hide behind the guise of familiarity. The hollow eyes of the betrayer are not merely unseeing, they are a gaping void, swallowing every memory of shared moments, leaving behind only the bitter, undeniable taste of profound, unforgivable deceit. It's a chilling testament to how easily our closest connections can unravel, revealing the darkest, most terrifying truths about human nature. The cold steel still pricks your neck, that foul breath of gin and decay a suffocating shroud, but a deeper chill now courses through you, far more insidious than metal or frost. It's the visceral, gut-wrenching realization that every shared glance, every murmured confidence, every fleeting moment of trust you believed you had was nothing but a meticulously crafted illusion. The memory of their familiar face, twisted by the gaslight and your newfound understanding, now feels like a physical blow, a lurching dread twisting your stomach. You feel the ground beneath you subtly shift, not literally, but the foundation of your perception crumbling. That hollow gaze still fixed upon you suddenly isn't just empty, it's a window into a calculating void where affection was a tool and loyalty a convenient facade. Each of their past gestures, once interpreted as warmth, now replays in your mind, recoded with chilling precision as steps in a deliberate, carefully executed deceit. The bitter taste in your mouth intensifies, no longer just the gin but the foul flavor of having been utterly, profoundly duped. Your breath catches, a strangled sound that dies in your throat. This isn't a moment of simple danger. It's an annihilation of belief, a brutal shattering of the very fabric of your reality. The cold steel is a threat to your body, yes, but the deliberate lie, the absolute betrayal, is a blade plunged directly into your soul, twisting, leaving a gaping, bleeding wound. The passage itself seems to press in, its grime and shadows now reflections of the deep-seated corruption you've just uncovered. You understand, with a clarity that feels like ice, how utterly exposed you truly are not just to this physical threat, but to the terrifying, boundless depths of human perfidy. To be so meticulously, so coldly misled leaves an indelible scar. The world, once defined by the familiar, has become a treacherous landscape, where trust is a fatal weakness and every smile a potential prelude to a deliberate, soul-destroying lie. It makes you question everything. The cold steel against your neck, the vile breath of gin and decay, they are still there, but now something more visceral, more overwhelming erupts from within you. Your lungs are burning. Not the cold, sharp burn of Whitechapel's fog, but a deep, furious inferno, a frantic demand for air that feels impossibly thin, choked by the terror. Each desperate gasp scrapes raw in your throat, a searing pain that claws its way up your windpipe, a desperate, animalistic struggle to breathe against an invisible force. And your ears, they are pounding, a relentless, deafening rhythm, a frantic drumbeat that isn't just your heart but your very blood roaring through your skull. It drowns out all other sounds, the distant murmur of the city, the soft scrape of your clothes, even the gaslight's faint hiss. It's an internal tempest, an overwhelming cacophony that blurs your thoughts, reducing them to primal, urgent instinct. Your vision flickers at the edges, responding to the violent pulse throbbing behind your eyes. You feel a profound lightheadedness, a dizzying nausea swirling in your gut, threatening to consume you. Your muscles are coiled tight, rigid with adrenaline, but also shaking with the sheer effort of clinging to consciousness, of forcing air into protesting lungs. The air around you, thick with the damp, the decay, the lingering gin, suddenly tastes metallic and sour, a flavor of desperation. Your mouth is bone dry, your tongue thick, and your teeth feel on edge from the sheer intensity of the sensation. The world outside this internal maelstrom seems distant, unreal, as if you're trapped behind a thick, vibrating pane of glass. You try to focus, to push through the overwhelming physical torment, but the burning in your lungs, the relentless pounding in your ears, demands every shred of your attention. This isn't just fear, this is your body screaming, fighting for survival, responding with brutal, undeniable force to the existential threat that looms over you. You are, in this moment, nothing but raw, struggling physicality, an organism consumed by the fight to simply exist. You realize with a chilling clarity that pierces through the haze, how utterly vulnerable and profoundly animalistic you become when pushed to this absolute edge. All reason, all composure, all the complex layers of human thought dissolve into this raw, burning need to breathe, to survive, to make this pounding, this inferno simply cease. It's a stark, undeniable testament to the body's ultimate dominion, a brutal reminder of how quickly the sophisticated mind can be subjugated by the primal demands of the flesh, reduced to mere instinct in the face of oblivion. The burning in your lungs, the relentless pounding in your ears, it propels you forward, a frantic, desperate energy. The cold steel that betrayers touch is a phantom agony on your neck, but now it's the external world that twists and turns around you, an endless, disorienting maze. You stumble, pushing through the suffocating, greasy fog, your boots slapping frantically on the uneven, slick cobblestones. The rhythmic echo of your own desperate footsteps bounces off unseen walls, a frantic, accelerating drumbeat that matches the terror in your chest. You turn a corner, then another, then yet another. Each narrow passage looks horrifyingly identical to the last, a repeating nightmare of grimy brick and shadowed doorways. The gaslights, fuzzy and indistinct through the persistent haze, offer no true guidance. They simply cast distorted, dancing shadows that writhe and stretch, mocking your frantic attempts to find a familiar path. You reach out, your hand scraping against damp, cold brick, feeling the rough, abrasive surface, a tactile reminder of the maze you're trapped within. Every doorway, every recessed alcove feels like a potential trap, a dead end, or a hiding place for unseen threats. The air, thick with the familiar Whitechapel smells of damp earth, stagnant refuse, and a lingering faint hint of that acrid gin, now tastes of frantic desperation, raw and unfiltered. Your mind races, trying to conjure a map, a direction, any sense of spatial logic, but each turn only intensifies the bewildering confusion. The walls seem to press in, closer, tighter, until you feel utterly swallowed by this labyrinthine network of courts and alleys. It's a physical manifestation of your crumbling composure, where every new twist promises only deeper confusion, more desperate futility. You're losing your sense of direction entirely, the world spinning in a dizzying, sickening blur. The fog, which once blurred reality, now feels like an active conspirator, weaving itself around you, ensuring you remain utterly, helplessly lost. You realize, with a sickening lurch that settles deep in your gut, how easily a familiar place can become a terrifying, endless trap when you are truly, desperately, and utterly disoriented. Here in the heart of Whitechapel's forgotten passages, you are a fly caught in a web spun from brick, fog, and pervasive fear, each turn a new, terrifying uncertainty. The burning in your lungs, the relentless pounding in your ears, it drives you, a primal engine of terror. You crash through a flimsy, unlatched door, the rotten wood splintering with a dry, violent crack that echoes like a gunshot in the sudden, profound quiet. Your desperate, gasping breaths are shockingly loud in this new space, each intake a ragged, painful scrape in your raw throat. Your frantic footsteps, moments ago a deafening drumbeat on the slick cobblestones of Whitechapel's labyrinthine courts, abruptly cease, swallowed by an immense, suffocating stillness. You've stumbled into the deepest chamber. The air here is utterly stagnant, heavy and cold, thick with the cloying, sickly sweet aroma of old, spent opium, far more potent than the diluted haze of the main den. Beneath it, a profound metallic tang, sharp and unmistakable, that catches at the back of your throat, a taste of cold iron and something vaguely coppery. It feels like a mausoleum of forgotten dreams and buried secrets, a place where air itself has grown weary. The oppressive darkness is pierced by a single flickering oil lamp, small and insignificant on a rough-hewn table, its feeble glow barely pushing back the encroaching shadows. They stretch and writhe like hungry spectres, making the low, uneven stone walls seem to press in, closer, tighter, until you feel utterly entombed. Your heart, still hammering a furious rhythm against your ribs, threatens to burst from your chest. Your eyes, wide and frantic, cut through the gloom, searching, desperate for escape, for a weapon, for anything. And then you see them, the betrayer. They stand perfectly still, an island of unnerving calm in the swirling chaos of your terror, just beyond the meager reach of the lamp's light. Their silhouette is stark, unmoving, outlined by the faint, golden flicker. The cold gleam of the steel blade you felt against your neck earlier is visible now, held loosely in their hand, catching the light like a cruel, silent jewel. Their face is unreadable, half lost in shadow, but their eyes, those hollow, unfeeling voids, are fixed on yours with an unnerving intensity. There's no surprise there, no frantic movement. Only a quiet, terrifying certainty, as if they knew with absolute conviction that you would eventually find your way to this precise, inescapable point. The gin and decay, that sickening aroma of their presence, now feel profoundly stronger, more intimate, clinging to the air around them like a second skin. It's a scent of victory, of cold, calculating satisfaction. You taste the metallic tang of fear in your own mouth, thick and acrid, mixing with the stale opium. Your body, despite its desperate fight for air, feels heavy, rooted to the spot, trapped. The confrontation isn't a battle of words or fists, not yet. It's a silent, visceral clash of wills, an undeniable recognition of a predator and its prey, locked in a chilling tableau. The profound quiet of this chamber, broken only by your own ragged breathing and the faint, almost imperceptible drip of moisture from an unseen crack in the stone, amplifies every tremor in your limbs, every frantic beat of your heart. You realize with a sickening certainty that this isn't merely the end of a chase. This is the culmination of a meticulously woven deception, a deliberate, brutal trap. Here, in this deepest chamber stripped bare of Whitechapel's fog, of the opium's sweet illusions, of any lingering comfort or hope, you are utterly, profoundly exposed. All the intricate layers of the mystery, all the hidden threads, have led you to this single, chilling truth. Some betrayals are not merely acts, but destinations, meticulously crafted and patiently awaited. You are precisely where they want you to be. The cold steel against your neck, the hollow gaze of the betrayer, they are the stark, unwavering truths of this deepest chamber. Your ragged breaths fill the profound quiet, shockingly loud. But as your gaze instinctively flicks past the betrayer, scanning the shadows, a new terror blossoms. You are not alone, you were never truly alone. From every corner of this cramped, stone-walled space, barely visible through lingering tendrils of stale opium smoke, you begin to discern them. Shapes, figures, dozens of them. They are sprawled on low divans, slumped against the damp walls, arranged like macabre statues in a forgotten tomb. These are the den's deeply lost, the forgotten souls of Whitechapel, drawn to this inner sanctum, now silent witnesses. Their eyes, though heavy-lidded or fixed in distant reverie, are all subtly, chillingly directed towards you, towards the silent drama unfolding. There's no anger in their gaze, no judgment, no flicker of concern. Only a profound, indifferent blankness, a collective, unblinking stare that holds you in its paralyzing grip. Each face, a canvas of forgotten dreams and quiet despair, now seems to wear a single, shared expression of detached observation. They are specters, present yet absent, their very stillness amplifying the menace of the moment. The silence they create is deafening. It's not merely the absence of sound, it's an oppressive, weighty thing, a dense, suffocating blanket woven from 100 unmoving bodies, 100 unseeing eyes. Every faint drip of moisture from the stone, every frantic beat of your own heart, every scrape of your coat as you involuntarily shift, is amplified to an unbearable roar in this absolute vacuum of sound. The thick air, heavy with old opium and the metallic tang of fear, feels entirely still, as if even the dust motes are afraid to stir. You feel the profound weight of their collective, unblinking witness, a cold, inescapable pressure that pins you in place. They offer no help, no warning, no sympathy. They are merely there, a silent, unmoving audience to your grim fate, their unfeeling presence a chilling testament to the den's power to consume all empathy, all intervention, all trace of shared humanity. You are the spectacle, trapped in the unforgiving spotlight of their pervasive, passive observation. You realize with a sickening clarity that this isn't just a confrontation with a betrayer. This is an execution, witnessed by the silent, indifferent masses, a chilling tableau of despair where even 100 pairs of eyes offer no solace, no hope, only the cold, unyielding confirmation of your profound, utter isolation. Their deafening silence is the true sound of oblivion, a terrifying echo of a world that has already chosen to look away, long before you even arrived. The darkness lifts not with a sudden snap, but with a slow, sickly seep of grey. You feel it first, a subtle thinning of the absolute black that has pressed against your eyelids for what feels like an eternity. It's not the comforting promise of a new day, but a dull, insipid light, the color of old dishwater, seeping grudgingly through a grimy, high-set window or a crack beneath a door you can't quite see. Each painful blink reveals only the blurred, indistinct forms of the squalid chamber around you, shadows struggling to retreat from this anemic dawn. Your head throbs with a dull, persistent ache, a heavy drumbeat behind your eyes that mirrors the lingering, frantic thrum in your ears. Your mouth feels like bone-dry cotton, coated with a vile, metallic sweet residue that still carries the ghost of opium, mixed with the acrid memory of gin and decay. You try to swallow, but it's a rough, painful scrape, leaving your throat feeling raw. Your body is a leaden weight, each limb heavy and unresponsive, as if you've been submerged in cold, stagnant water for hours. A profound, bone-deep cold has settled within you, battling against the faint, residual warmth of the opium, a relentless, creeping chill that announces the dawn in Whitechapel. The profound silence of the deepest chamber, the one that swallowed all sound, has finally fractured. Now muted, distant sounds begin to filter through the thin walls, the faint, hurried clip-clop of a lone cart on wet cobbles, the distant, reedy cry of a street hawker, the shrill, impatient squawk of a seagull, reminders of the city stirring, indifferent to your plight. Each sound is a tiny, painful pinprick, pulling you further from the sweet oblivion, dragging you back, unwillingly, to the stark, demanding reality of the waking world. You try to move, to shift your weight, and a sharp, unexpected pain lances through your muscles, protesting the sudden demand. The world seems to spin for a moment, a dizzying, sickening lurch that warns against haste. You can still taste the fear, sharp and metallic, a lingering residue from the cold steel, from the hollow eyes of the betrayer. It's a bitter, sobering re-entry into consciousness, stripped bare of all illusions, all comforts. You realize with a grim, undeniable certainty that this grey dawn isn't a fresh start. It's merely the relentless continuation of a harsh, unforgiving reality. The night's terrors, the opium's deceptive embrace, the betrayal itself, they haven't vanished with the darkness. They've merely been clarified, made starker, more painfully real by the unforgiving, sober light of a Whitechapel morning. There's no escape here, not even in the quiet peace of dawn, only the stark, undeniable truth of what remains. The grudging grey light of dawn, that sickly seep of anemic colour, has now fully asserted itself, no longer merely suggesting, but starkly revealing the truth of the chamber. It's a cruel, unforgiving illumination, stripping away the opium's golden haze, pulverizing any lingering hint of romanticism or fleeting beauty. What it exposes is a tableau of profound, unvarnished squalor, a chilling testament to neglect and desperation, far more stark than any shadow could ever imply. Where hours ago the thick, undulating smoke had rendered the room a tapestry of blurred figures and indistinct comforts, now you see only grim, unforgiving lines. The walls, no longer mysterious, are revealed as rough-hewn stone, weeping with damp, streaks of grime running like tears down their unforgiving surfaces. Patches of mould bloom in the corners, their dark, velvety forms almost obscene in the sudden, dull clarity. The low ceiling, previously lost to shadow, now presses down, its cobwebs thick with dust, draped like forgotten shrouds. The ground beneath you is no longer merely gritty. It's a mosaic of hardened dirt, embedded with countless discarded pipe stems, shattered fragments of clay bowls, and an unsettling scattering of human detritus, dried phlegm, forgotten scraps of cloth, inexplicable stains that now stand out in stark, nauseating detail. The cushions, which once offered a deceptive softness, are revealed as ragged, stained lumps of fabric, their stuffing spilling in places, their colors muted to a uniform, defeated grey. They hold the lingering, sickeningly sweet scent of stale opium, but now it's tinged with the cold, musty odor of a room left to fester, of human presence without human care. The figures of the lost, those 100 watching smokers from the night, are gone, utterly, profoundly absent. Their places on the divans against the walls are marked only by the hollow imprints of their bodies, indentations in the dust and grime, cold and empty. Abandoned pipes, their bowls caked with burnt residue, lie scattered like fallen soldiers. The oil lamps, cold and extinguished, are no longer points of flickering warmth, but crude, rusted metal shells, their wicks stiff and black. The profound emptiness left by their departure is almost more suffocating than their silent presence had been, a tangible void that echoes with the chill of abandonment. You feel a profound sense of disillusionment, a bitter, metallic taste in your mouth that is far worse than any gin or opium. The dreams, the false comforts, the fleeting sense of escape, all are exposed as cruel, elaborate lies by this unforgiving, sober light. There is nothing left but the stark, unyielding truth of the room's desolation, its deep-seated filth, its profound, echoing emptiness. The lingering cold, which has now settled deep in your bones, seems to emanate not just from the stone, but from the very starkness of this revealed reality. You run a hand over a wooden beam nearby, feeling the ingrained dirt, the rough, splintered grain. It's real, undeniably painfully real. The absence of the human element, of even the collective unconscious of the opium users, leaves this chamber feeling utterly devoid, a husk of despair. This is the truth of Whitechapel's hidden heart. Not romantic darkness, but mundane, relentless decay. And the daylight, even this meager, anemic dawn, offers no solace, only the chilling, undeniable clarity of what has been lost, what has been left behind, and what inevitably remains. You realize that sometimes the greatest truth is not found in shadows and mystery, but in the stark, unvarnished ugliness that sunlight so cruelly reveals. You stumble out of the desolate chamber, back into the narrow passage, then through the low, tattered doorway, emerging onto Whitechapel's bleak, grey streets. The biting chill of the London morning hits you, sharp and immediate, a slap of raw air that scrapes against your lungs. You inhale deeply, desperate for the clean, metallic tang of the fog, for anything to purge the vile sweetness that still coats your mouth, clings to your tongue, but it's no use. The cloying, sickly sweet aroma of opium, mingled with the acrid undertone of stale smoke and human decay, is still profoundly present. It's not merely clinging to your coat or trapped in your hair. It feels deeper, burrowed into your skin, seeped into your very pores. You can taste it, heavy and persistent in the back of your throat, a phantom residue that refuses to be dislodged by the crisp morning air. You rub your gloved hands roughly over your face, over your neck, trying to scrub away the invisible stain, but the scent remains stubbornly, sickeningly intimate. It's an insidious sensation, this lingering perfume of oblivion. You feel tainted by it, as if the very air of the den has become a part of you, an unwanted secret now permanently etched onto your being. The fresh cold outside, usually invigorating, now feels almost irrelevant. The true chill comes from this internalized aroma, a constant, pervasive reminder of where you've been, of what you've witnessed, and of the profound, sweet lies you almost succumbed to. Each breath you take, each beat of your hammering heart seems to carry the ghost of that heavy smoke, a whisper of faded dreams and forgotten sorrows. You look down at your coat, noticing the faint, almost iridescent sheen of opium ash that still clings to the dark wool, a physical manifestation of the clinging scent. It's a bitter truth, this. You can leave the physical confines of a place, but the most potent experiences, the deepest corruptions, they don't just touch your skin. They seep into your essence, clinging to a part of you that's far harder to cleanse, leaving an indelible mark. You realize that some places, some moments brand you not just on the outside, but deeply, irrevocably within your very soul. And sometimes that mark manifests as a lingering scent, a permanent, unwelcome echo of the darkness you've journeyed through. You're out on the street now, the cold morning air a brutal shock, the lingering opium scent clinging to your clothes and skin like an unwanted secret. The frantic pounding in your chest has subsided, replaced by a hollow thrum, a dull ache that isn't just physical. A different kind of silence has descended, not the sudden, terrified quiet of the den, nor the suffocating stillness of betrayal, but something far more profound, far more personal. It's the heavy, undeniable silence that comes when a fundamental truth has finally, irrevocably settled within you. The noise of Whitechapel is all around, the distant calls of hawkers, the rumble of a cart, the incessant, grimy life of the city. But to your ears, it's all muted, distant, as if you're listening from beneath deep water. You're encased in your own private world of quiet, a bubble where the clamor of the street can't quite penetrate. This isn't a silence born of fear, but of absolute certainty, a profound understanding that has reordered every facet of your perception. The bitter taste of hypocrisy, the chilling knowledge of betrayal, they've coalesced into a single, undeniable weight, a truth that now lies, stark and cold, in the quiet core of your being. You walk without conscious thought, your boots moving mechanically on the slick cobblestones, each step echoing in your personal void. The grey fog, still thick in patches, feels different now. It no longer obscures but seems to reflect the internal landscape of your mind, a world suddenly stripped of comforting illusions, laid bare by harsh, unforgiving light. The faces of passers-by, glimpsed through the swirling mist, are just blurs, their concerns utterly irrelevant to the monumental shift within you. Your hand, still clutching the cold, silver signet ring, is a physical anchor to this new reality. Its solid weight, the carved crest, now speaks not of a mere mystery, but of the intricate, hidden threads of power and deceit that weave through this city, touching everything, corrupting everyone. The world feels smaller now, yet infinitely more complex, its hidden mechanisms suddenly, brutally apparent. You realize, with a chilling clarity that sears itself into your very soul, that some truths once seen cannot be unseen. They don't just explain, they transform. They leave behind a heavy, unshakable silence, a profound quiet where the cacophony of doubt once reigned. It's the silence of understanding, yes, but also the silence of irrevocable loss, of a world that can never again be perceived through the comforting veil of ignorance. This quiet is both a burden and a new, terrible kind of clarity, a constant, pervasive presence that now defines your every breath, every thought, every future step in the unforgiving heart of Whitechapel.